Sometimes, in order to move forward in life, you have to have the backbone to say goodbye to some things that are holding you back. I love the story of Mike Lindell. In case you don't know who that is, that's the My Pillow guy. I'm sure you've seen his commercials, or maybe you have one of his pillows. They're everywhere. His company is extremely successful, but do you know how he started out? Mike was addicted to drugs. In fact, he abused drugs most of his life. By the spring of 2008, his drug addiction had gotten so bad that his three crack dealers got together and did something that defies logic. They attempted an intervention, his own drug dealers. They refused to sell drugs to Mike again. Now, during the course of all this, My Pillow was starting to gain some traction, and Lindell knew that if he didn't quit drugs that day, everything would crumble. He prayed a simple prayer and asked God to take away his desire for drugs. And you know what? God did. The next morning, his desire was completely gone, and he said he felt more peace than he had ever felt in his life. Mike said goodbye to drugs once and for all. His company now supports programs for people battling addiction, and in addition to that, he has a foundation that supports cancer victims, veterans, active duty military members, and other people in need. Mike said this, "I can't help my past. I can only take my past and help people in the future." Now, I love a good success story. I especially love one about someone who turns tragedy into triumph. I love how Mike turned his situation around for the better. Now he helps the very people who he once was like. He's using his platform to help people get out of hopeless situations and get back on their feet. This story is another amazing example of how God can use anyone. In fact, he specializes in broken, imperfect people with a past. I'm so grateful for that. You know, what we think about ourselves is so different than what God thinks about us. See, everyone has things in their life they aren't proud of. We have to be careful not to allow one bad chapter to ruin our whole story. Imagine if Mike Lindell would have just quit at the worst place in his life. We have to be able to turn the page, to say goodbye, because we have to realize there's more in store. And beside that, our future isn't based on what we did yesterday or the mistakes we made in our past. It's a new day. We don't have to be the same person that we were yesterday. When we know to do better, we can simply do better. Often that means we have to change our mentality. And when we change our mentality, it will change our reality. How do we do that? Well, we have to change the way we see ourselves. We have to get a new vision of ourselves. How do we do that? To get a new vision of yourself, you're going to have to say goodbye to your past mistakes. You're going to have to say goodbye to self-sabotaging thoughts, punishing yourself for things that you've done in the past that you're not proud of. You're going to have to say goodbye to looking back. Why? Because you're not going that way. This is a good one, and we'll talk about for just a minute. We're going to have to say goodbye to the conversations about yesterday. See, if we're constantly bringing up past issues or hurts, maybe disappointments, or maybe you keep bringing up a past offense, there's some things that you need to work through in order to move forward. There's some things that you need to heal from, and hey, that's okay. We all have things that we need to work through. When we dwell on the past and all of the memories, feelings of discouragement begin to show up in our lives. You begin to feel helpless. You begin to feel hostage to those feelings. And unless you take measures to deal with it, you'll keep repeating the pattern. Dwelling is a place you remain stagnant. You got to quit going there. And to stop going there, you have to heal from it. And in order to heal, y'all, you have to deal. You have to forgive those who hurt you. You have to forgive those who abused you. You have to forgive those who took advantage of you. You have to let go of the anger that you've been holding on to. You have to let go of the offense. Also, some things that we might need to do, and we've all had to do this, you have to forgive yourself. You are not your past. You are not what others have done to you. Oh, I'm going to say that one again. You are not what others have done to you. You're not what others have said about you. You have to take necessary measures to deal with things so you can heal and not return to those hurt feelings ever again. And when you close the door to it, you can open the door to your future. Be like Mike Lindell and pray and ask God to help you release it all. Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's unforgiveness. Maybe it's holding on to offense or bitterness or anger. Ask God to help you release it. See, one day you'll be able to look back and see how God brought you through it. You'll not remember things with anger, but instead with gratitude that you no longer have to experience the pain of yesterday. I want to encourage you, use what you've gone through as a stepping stone for a greater life. Look how Mike Lindell turned a hopeless situation around, and now he's using what he went through to help others out of addiction. The great news is every day is a brand new day, and you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself. So when you catch yourself going back to old feelings or old places, remind yourself that you don't live there anymore. Close the door, throw away the key, wave goodbye, and know that you know that you know that there are far greater days up ahead. I'm April. I hope you've enjoyed it today. I would love for you to subscribe, and until next time, I hope you have an amazing day.